Okay. Oh, we're already live? Huh. Okay. All right. Give me a sec. Wasn't supposed to happen like that. All right. That's good. I think we're good. Good enough. So I'm trying out the new thing in YouTube where it broadcasts the horizontal and vertical at the same time. So trying to find the right area to be in. So I'm only going to have two cam views, by the way, as well. So it'll be this one, and then it'll be the one that's over my lathe. Let's see, making sure we're coming in clear. Let me check that right quick. Okay, how you doing, Michael? Good to see you, man. Yeah. All right. So Potentially angle that a little bit down, but there's not really anything to see. It's any lower. We got that. That looks good. That looks good. Yeah. Huh. Well, it's been a while. So I guess kind of to recap right quick, I hadn't streamed really since shoot, a little bit before Christmas, huh? But yeah. So in between there, Christmas, we had 3. Went to the in-laws, then to my parents, and then we had our own. I had surgery on my index finger to remove a cyst. So I've also not really been learning much. But I've been working on some other stuff. Am I supposed to be horizontal? I don't know. That's a good question. So I think they can both happen. So right now I'm looking at it on my iPad as horizontal, which is kind of neat. But I just got to make sure I stay in this little area. But I don't know. I am not entirely sure how it will work. I think it might just show up in the like the shorts or whatever when people are scrolling. So I think that's how the vertical part works. But it'll be kind of cool. It'll be kind of cool to get back to horizontal streaming. That way you can actually see more stuff, and I don't have to try to pack everything into a pretty narrow field of view. Once you see the cam over the lathe, you'll see quite a wide area. So it'll make it a little bit nicer. But some of the things that I did, I don't know if you follow me on TikTok or anything, but I showed making these. So I got some stuff from PSI, some of the, there we go. I got some of these things, stabilized burl. They're just partials. I think they were all at least inch and a half, 2 inches, inch and a half. Or for my other folk, about 70 millimeters. My European folk. But yeah, about 2.5 inches is about how big they are. Just means less views. Yeah, I can understand that. And I'll be honest, that's not really a problem for me. Because I think the content that I'm trying to actually impart with people is more along the lines of, you know, being able to see kind of everything all together. That way you don't have to really zoom in, kind of. You casted some blanks. What kind of blanks did you cast? I'll talk a little bit more about these in a minute. But yeah, it's a good time. Good time. Been busy, especially towards the end of the year, because just trying to get everything done in a much more compressed time, and then commissions and stuff like that. Try to get those bad boys all out. And then what else? So I've got another pin that I've shown on TikTok as well. So that'll be kind of the direction of the project that I'm doing today. Once I do a couple of, or a few of these. There we go. Calling clown blanks, basically they're random colors. There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad. Are they in the Discord? I guess I'm more of like a spectator in the Discord. I haven't really done a whole lot in there. But let's see. Is that good? Abby's going to get the pen or Abby is getting the pin, hopefully. But yeah, go ahead and kick it off. We'll be working on some of these. Yeah, pretty cool little thing with this. And I've been trying to do other little tips and tricks here and there. As I'm going. Thank you. All right. So let's see. All right, we're going to switch over to the other cam here. There we go. Good. Now y'all can see that too. That's going to need to change. Anyway, this is the pin that I'm talking about. We're going to be working on pins that are going to be like this, made with stabilized. Some of them are stabilized burl, some of them aren't burl. But yeah, copper accent band, ebonite sleeve, ebonite cap, and then we have a Juma section on them, which you can get some of that chatoyance in there, which is pretty awesome. Let's see. There we go. Anyway, the whole focus was to highlight the stabilized wood here. So that's what the main focus is. I've got some other ones over here that are already glued up, like so. And so we're going to unwrap those and shape them. Let's see, I've got 7 of those. So I've got a nice good day here of doing that. Yeah. Still trying to get the field of view for this, so I'm sorry if that's a little awkward. Good enough. And then this, I guess, can move over here. Yeah, let's get to some turn in and go from there. Let's see if I tilt this up just a tad. No. Anyway, yeah, so these are square, and it has a little scrap piece on the inside here that looks like, if you wanted to do something along those lines as well, it looks like, where did those little pieces go? All right, I don't have any extras. Huh. I used them. Anyway, this is one that didn't quite work out. So this is a little, an example, right? So this is the same on both sides. I trimmed it down, left an accent band in the middle, and then drilled a hole, put the pieces together, and then it's a pretty clever way to, make small pieces into a little bit larger pieces. You can do a variety of things from there, which is pretty neat. And you can also change the size of this too if you wanted to. You can make it smaller or bigger depending on what overall size that you want at the end. So pretty neat little thing that you can do. And I don't remember. Yeah, I did. I did the little the PSI stabilized wood unboxing kind of thing where I'm showing the different pieces that I got. So pretty cool. Let me go ahead and throw a respirator on so I can get these turned. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. I'm going to get 4 of these done, and then we'll move to the fountain pens. But this is stabilized and dyed and stabilized. So knocking them around is going to be pretty fun. Take a little bit. Alrighty, let's get to it. Hey Brian, how you doing, man? It's been a little while. I had surgery done on my index finger. Got 4 stitches in there. And as of now, I'm trying out the YouTube where it is showing up in the vertical as well as the horizontal. So I don't know exactly what that looks like. As far as the vertical, because I can't really see it. It's not showing itself. But it's good to see you, man. Hope you had a good New Year and all that stuff. Okay. I'll put this a little bit further down. should be. Okay, now we're right about where we want to be with this. Had a great holiday? Good, good. Horizontal here? Yeah, I think that might be what the most common is. But it looks kind of far away, but if I zoom in, the vertical would look even more weird. So, I am not sure if we're going to, you know, do this the whole time, but it's good to hear you had a good holiday. We're going to do just a, let's see, we've got these as well, so they don't look super beautiful and centered right now, but they will. So it's going to kind of go in here. It's been quite a while, it seems, since I last streamed. I've been working on another side project that hopefully will do well. So that's going to come down to here. I'm going to pop it back up. Yep. And a little recess in here. And this is actually kind of a new shape that I've been enjoying doing for this particular thing here. But yeah, I was going to stream yesterday, but I had to finish up some other work, and I don't want to kick it off with that kind of stream, really. This is more of a enjoy everything kind of stream. Not so much a meet a deadline kind of stream. So some stabilized wood I have found that is a little bit spongy, and then other stabilized wood has been quite hard. Pretty much all the stuff that I got from the PSI bundle have been nice and solid. So that's nice. round this one off just a little bit down here. There we go, looking nice and symmetrical. The tool rest is almost too short. Make this side a little less bulbous. Looking good. Let's take a look at what the surface looks like. Pretty smooth. All right, cool. There's that one. I like the design. Again, it started from something that looks similar to this. And then I guess to recap what it was, or how I got to this point. Where'd that other piece go? I started off with a basically a scrap piece, and I trimmed that side down, trimmed the other side down, drilled a hole on both sides of the blank, and then basically glued this into place. So that's how I made it. If you were wondering. But yes, it was a lot of fun. This particular project, well, it got my dad some repetitions on cutting tenons, so pretty happy about that. He has not been the greatest at cutting tenons. But, trying to make some things happen for that to be beneficial and educational at the same time. But yes, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the SOOO community, the SKOOL community, but that is something that I have been working on, which will be pretty cool, I think. Find a good groove here. Nope. Out of here, corners. Not enough of you. I'm going to do it nice and patiently. We're just roughing it, right? We're roughing it out. I'm going to clean the surface more a little later. But man, talk about a really cool, at least I think so. I think this is a pretty cool way to go about making smaller pieces useful and then other smaller pieces useful. Just another way to repurpose some of those pieces that would otherwise get tossed. And it adds another, I guess, level of skill and, you know, ability to your toolbox for joining blanks and stuff like that. You can definitely tell because the tool kind of sank down on the resin part that the resin is a little softer than the stabilized, which is pretty cool. So for this one, because we have such a deep spot right there, here's going to be what we're going to do. Because I have the peg on the inside of this blank, I know that I can't go too deep, but the peg itself is about 3/8 of an inch. So my hole is right about that as well. And I'm just going to kind of taper it down at like an angle here, and then leave this side bigger. So we kind of get an asymmetrical type of pin here. So that'll be what our plan is. Go ahead and clean the ends right quick. And then this will be where the larger side is. And then let's see that. And then do a modify that. Go down to into a small. Taper that down into a small, but I want something kind of. So this is going to dip down and come back up, and then incorporate that. Yep. That's what we're going to do. So we're actually going to start a little bit further back than that one. This will be a nice long taper all the way to the right side here. Okay, starting to come together here. I want that definition line right here. We're almost there with the shape. So I have a flat spot right here, and then we'll see what ends up happening with this, but usually we just throw some CA glue to get that to where it's a smooth surface again. Yesterday I saw the whacking shack. He had his wife turning a bowl. I wasn't going to stream yesterday, but I was watching that instead. So that was pretty fun. Almost. Okay. There we go. Now just going to round this to make a little ball. Around the grip on this side. I want our taper to be a little bit more pronounced here. Right there. go. Cool. I'm gonna turn my heater off, man. It is toasty. There we go. Sweet. So we'll hit these spots with some CA at the finishing step here. But yeah, do that. And then the way that I prepped all these is probably a little different than what you would have expected. But I wanted to make sure that they were centered. So if they weren't, they would be offset right here and right here. But they're not because of how I set that part up. Alright, let's see. We're going to try to be a little hastier on the knocking this around. But it doesn't look like it would be straight, does it? Well, at least it doesn't to me. But it is. Broke off. That was too hard on it. That's what it looks like. It's alright, we'll try again. Well, the wood didn't break, the resin part broke. It's alright, we'll come back to that, fix it, and then continue later. Just gotta be a little bit more gentle with them. Anybody got a guess at why that happened? reason it happens, if you were like this, is because one side was spinning faster than the other, and it rotated. With the tool, I am slowing it down essentially, and then when I'm digging really hard, I'm slowing it down even more, and then one side is spinning faster than the other, and so when I'm not letting them turn at the same rate, there's a weak point, right? That's the weak point. And so it twisted and caused that to break. I think I turned like, I don't know, 15 of these so far, and only happened once. And I thought it actually not worried about that. That'll be a dip down anyways. This just needs to be refined a little bit more so we can be in line at the bottom, at the lowest point of it. That's up over there. There we go. Lovely. Let's do another one, huh? Hey, how you doing? Alright, this is the last one of these I'll be doing, and then we'll switch over to the main event, so to speak. Hello, hello, how you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy New Year. Ah, there we go. Whew. So far enough on this here. A little bit further, I reckon. Move it out a little bit more. Bingo. That's a bingo. Whew. Cool. These are the ones that we did. And then other one we broke. So we have to go back to that one in a little bit later on. But yeah. Pretty cool use of a scrap piece and then repurposing it to put something together. And this wood was stabilized. Some of it was stabilized burl, some of it was stabilized just regular wood with a resin connection. And that's why the other one was which is alright. Gotta break a few eggs, right? Gotta break some eggs. Whoops, sorry, I bumped the cam. Alright, we're going to change gears here. I'll leave the live center in place. We just switch out the collet to accept. A mandrel here. There we go. So this is a collet chuck here. These are the different collet sizes. And then this will end up going into here. So for the collet, there's a ring right here. Push that in. So you hear it snap, and then it won't come out. Go ahead and connect it because it's not going to start tightening until a little bit later because there's a taper on the inside here. And then this will go there. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of tape because, oh, I can take my mask off, I reckon. I'm going to get some tape and what I'm going to do is basically expand the mandrel just a little bit because the collet doesn't like to tighten all the way, or when it does tighten all the way, this is just, it just fits this basically. So I want it to be a little bit more set. And so you would think that you should wrap it around, but that won't work right. So to get the right uniform diameter, this is what I have found to do. The other way doesn't work quite right. Doesn't work quite the same. It'll be slightly off because you'll have one strip that overlaps, and then it'll be a progressive expansion. We don't want that. You just want to make sure it's flat. And from here, I'm just going to use a razor blade and cut it. There we go. You can also cut the top, or you can fold it. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And I have to replace this every time because of the collet is going to grab it and then put little indents in the tape. And I don't want that to interfere, so I'll replace the tape pretty much every time. Okay, not pretty much. I'll replace it every time I'm going to go into the collet here. So, what we're going to be working on next is these here. So, stabilized again. They're sleeved with Ebonite. And this tape is just to protect the threads when I was gluing. So all of them over there look like this. And I didn't bring them all over because they're all matched with their cap. But the cap is just going to be a basic black Ebonite, and they're going to all be flat tops. And what that is going to end up looking like once we're all done is going to be a pin like this. There we go. So we have the stabilized. I have a copper accent band in there. This is the Ebonite once it's all nice and polished up. And then we have a Juma section. There's a nice little pop of chatoyance in there. and they're all fit for a Joe number 6. So that is what we're going to be working on next. Let's see. Let me get these set up a little bit right quick. A little bit better so I can have them basically on the side over there to where you can see them. Or I guess see them all at the same time. I won't be doing the sections today, I don't think. But those are all cut from the same blank. And then let's see. Drop test complete. Alrighty. Okay, so here are the blanks here, and then these are the caps that go. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, and so on. This one's my questionable one. When I did it, it didn't quite set the way I wanted it to, so we'll save that one for last. The glue that I was using was a thick glue, and it didn't quite work how I wanted it to. It was very thick. It was very thick. Like, you can see, so thick. But yeah, so the barrel right here, I just taped it to protect the threads so the glue didn't get on them. And it'll get turned away once we get there. Okay. And I already have a mark on here too that I marked before before gluing the tube in. That way I knew the depth and where the end was. But if we did happen to go too far, it's not that big of a deal. We would just make another end cap and then put it on the end. So I might end up having to do that anyway with one of these, because this blank was a little on the shorter side. But we're going to try to make them all to where they're just the full size, because that would be most ideal. And then the diameter we're going to end up going, so the threads are about 13 millimeter, and then the cap, we're going to reduce that down to 16, I believe. So this is going to get turned down about, I think, 15 and a half. So this little gauge right here is pretty cool. So yeah, it's not 16, it's 15 and a half with a gentle taper. And then the cap is 17, which ends up with a nice step, a nice tasteful shoulder right there. That's the at least that's the plan. But this was a 3D printed piece, and I use the edges pretty often. That way I can check and see the diameters that I'm at. And then the little marks here are basically just showing what number goes to which circle to make it easier for referencing. Okay, so we're going to turn this down. Good. So normally I would also do a center start bit, but because of how small this is, I want to keep enough material as possible here, so I don't want to have to take much off. So I'm going to keep this as long as possible. And the way I'm going to do that is just by using this as a support instead of like going in and like doing a pretty, I guess, a deeper support. Yeah. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Guess I could just mask up and not have to turn on Morty, because there's not much that's going to get taken away, really. I don't think. We'll see. We'll start with it off, see what it does. Hello, how you doing? Come on now. There we go. Alright, so the mark is about right here, which is a little over 1/4 inch away from the back. And I can still see it. That's nice. Alright, let's see what diameter we're at here. Okay. And then my template is 15.5. So, I need to take that down to about 16. Alright, nice. Now I need to get to everything else to about there. especially on resin. Sweet. Getting dialed in here. Thank you for that, Lawrence. I had to switch mics. Okay, so the front part area here, I believe, is where we want it to be. 15.5, yeah. So I need to make everything else kind of match that, and then go a little bit further down on the tapering here. Boom. Hey Lawrence, did you see what we're working on, man? This is the stabilized purple with a ebonite cap, with a copper. Whoop, okay, a copper accent band. Yep. All right. Okay. Kind of pull this back a little bit. Let's see. All right, so the indent that I put on with the live center, we're going to trim that back. Okay, now I think we're going to blend that in. No, I don't want to do that. We're just going to take it the rest of the way off. There we go. Boom. Okay. One. There we go. Pretty cool. This will get cleaned up and then, yeah. You didn't see her. Oh. Here she is. There we go. And we're about the exact size we need to be blended. Oh, also I should mention that I tried a variety of different finishes, and so far the best one that I have found is Aussie oil. The one that I have on the pin currently is not Aussie oil, but it's already sanded and everything, so I just need to throw the Aussie oil on there pretty much. Fixie, man. But yeah, over the holiday break at least, I got surgery on my finger, so I ended up getting 4 stitches in there and getting a bump taken out. So that's part of why I didn't stream for a little while. But I was still out here working on stuff and just this is one of the things I was working on. So the reason I'm working on these today, by the way, is because Abby's birthday is coming up, and one of them is going to end up being for her. She'll have the choice. I already showed her the purple one, and then let her know that she'll get to choose whichever one she wants from the back. So pretty cool. But they're all Ebonite sleeves, and it's stabilized wood. Some of them are burl, some of them are not. This one looks like a carrot. Whew. That was a long cut. We did save some for casting, by the way. We saved some for casting. Yes, so 2026, we're going to level up our pins again. That's the plan, at least. Obviously, we'll continue with what we already do, but we're going to continue, we're going to add other elements to it as well. So, here's the ebonite, the black, and then there's the glue, and then there's the copper. Go ahead and trim that just a little bit. I have to do something a little different for this one. Doesn't look like I was able to push the thing all the way down. We'll continue as planned. Almost there. There we go. Let's see. Is that? I think it is glue. All right. Well, we're gonna have to fill that in another way. So for this one, what we're going to do actually is take the end, match it up, and then I'll just trim it back as I need to. So we're going to do it slightly different than the previous one. Make sense of paper as always. I think I know who would be interested in this particular pin. I got an idea at least. Alright, let's take a gander here. Yeah, unfortunately, pretty sure that's just glue. Yeah. That's alright. We shall remove it and then put something else inside, huh? Yep, that's alright. Oh yeah, where am I at diameter-wise? Just at 16. Need to drop it down a little bit more. I'm going to stop it so I can take that off. There. And then we shall continue. the spot right here. There we go. Alright, let's roll this a little bit more here. Nice. Hey, how you doing? Doesn't look tapered enough yet. I'm going to taper it a little bit more. And it looks too big up there still. That's better. This middle part. Alright, there we go. There we go. Let me flatten that out a little bit more here. There it is. Behold the carrot. So I'm going to have to readdress this part right here after I clear out the glue, and then we're going to actually put something inside of it. But we're going to continue with what we've already got prepped, and we will revisit that at a later time. But yeah, this is, you know, when you get something, then it doesn't quite go how you want it to, and you have a variety of other ones that you might run into the same problem with. In my opinion, it's best to just kind of take what you have, continue, and have that one like set to the side, because I might have other ones that are like that. But it's tough to know until after you do it all. I'm going to take just a little pause for a second. That way I can let my face breathe. We'll do the other overview cam here. Hey, welcome to Maverick Workshop. I'm John. If you're new here, do me a solid and hit that thumbs up. Also, I make pens. Pens is what I do. pens, fountain pens and stuff like that. So it's you know, it's always fun to meet new people and you know, um, yeah. But these pins that I'm working on, they're from Ebonite that are already prepped. So this is what it started like when, yeah, this is what it looked like when I began. They're already prepped. We already prepped them with the triple lead and the M10 by 1 on the inside here. So they're already ready. They were just waiting for their assignment essentially. But yeah. So basically, in order to sleeve it, what I did is I determined the depth where I was going to drill into here, and then I got it as close as I could to that, and then I trimmed it down down to the diameter, leaving leaving that little, what ends up being a blocker, but accent band from the material itself. So that's what that is. And then I threw a brass or a copper ring on it. So this is what it started off as, and trimmed this part down, and then I drilled a hole in the inside of this block basically, and then you see what I'm working on now. So that's kind of like the different steps that we're at. So yes, but it comes up pretty often. People want to know how to sleeve something, and you know, that's it. You drill everything out, and then you trim it down to the diameter that you want it to be, and then boom. Now the interesting thing too, what you can do, if you've seen things like this before, if you've seen these types of things before, you can also make them for this. But basically you just do the exact same thing, and then you add an end on it. But you know, that'll be maybe in another stream, I guess, if you're interested in that, want to know how to do that. But yeah, just taking a little breather because my face has been in that mask for a little while. But yeah, do we have other turners here? Other pin makers? Pin artisans of sorts? I've got a couple other things that I'm working on too. But I wanted to go ahead and finish these because Abby's birthday's coming up, and they'll be for her. She'll get to choose one. But I'm not sure if y'all know like the color of the year type of thing. But if you're into blank making and stuff like that, I would suggest learning about it. Some people like the different colors, although the color of the year this year is a little underwhelming. It's white, essentially. But these are the ones that we're working on, or I'm working on, that are white. They have color shift and interference powders in there. And then these are going to end up being the sections. Whoop. But yeah. So these won't be the sections. I might actually use these for this project again that I started with earlier. But pretty cool, pretty cool. And then I got a couple commissions on here as well. But yeah. Oh, let's see. So, also another interesting thing before I get back to it. um, Abby got all the shows booked for us so far. we'll be going to, or she'll be going to the California show, pin show. And then we'll both be going to Florida pin show. And then the DC pin show. So we're booked for all those, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And the California one for my, I think it's like February. February? I think so. Kind of crazy. It's right around the corner, man. So got to get some stuff done, and that's a part of what these are as well. You know, trying to have a little bit of variety. I like to do you know, have little series of certain things. Just kind of makes it fun, I think. Oh, also, does anybody use the Junior Gent pin kit? I guess I'll save that one for we got some people chatting here. But yeah, there's a Junior Gentleman pin kit that well, we'll see. We'll see if anybody's even there. Okay. Get that locked in nice and snug. All right, looking good, looking good. Tunage. And then if Brian's still here, I don't think I'll be going to the mate this year. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be going to the mate this year. But it was a good time last year. I just, as far as like traveling plans for, you know, work related stuff like that, I think I'm going to try to get something a little different this go. But, you know, I'll talk about that another time, I reckon. But yeah, I want to get some experience from other professional individuals in their respective areas. So that's kind of the plan, at least. You caught me as I'm about to get going again. What's up? Is it okay for dinner? What? Is it perfect for dinner? If you're ready in like 30 to 45 minutes, 45 hour. Bye. All right. Okay. All right. So I guess we got like an hour. When I come to the workshop, man, I'm just time traveling. Oh. I'm going to turn on the dust collect. Nah, I won't. Don't worry about it. Ugh. Yeah. I love the dust collection. It doesn't seem to bother people, you know, so. Alright, so getting out of sequence already. Golly, here we go. So whenever the line is, you can go ahead and do a little marking here. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry, getting used to this. I usually have two views. There we go. Hillbilly! What's up, man? Hope you had a good holiday. No, it's a stabilized. This is a stabilized burl. Been working on a set that looks like this. So ebonite cap, ebonite sleeve burl, and it'll have a Juma accent, or a Juma section, I mean, with a copper accent band. So that's what this will be. Alright, we are just at 16. We need to drop it another half mil. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it is a little bit more pink though, but my view is a little different. Now, trying it out. What do you think? Disclaimer. Ooh, this is loose. There's something right here, I think. Ah, boo! You can see my ebonite sleeve in there. That's okay. That's okay. We'll pack it with something else. Sorry, I had to get my head real close. Okay. Okay, well, other than that last little bit, we're good. Why does that look so much bigger? That's good. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to leave the tenon or the live center dimple in case I have to go back and address that differently. But this whole, here, let me show you what close by. So this right here, there we go, now you can see it. This hole, and then, yeah, and then this one. Those will need to be fixed. So we're going to fill them with something, pack it in, and then continue from there. So if you're a ring maker, that's a pretty good skill to have for times like this. If you packed in like the gemstones or something like that, then you have kind of a foundational understanding of, you know, what you could do in this particular case. So everything in turning kind of seems to piggyback in some form or fashion, which I find quite satisfying. But we have another one. The tape I had here was to protect the threads from the glue. Perfect. Oh, let me find my mark. Yeah,
have a mark on this one? Yeah, there it is. Go ahead and make that a little bit more recognizable here. Should be able to see that. It's about here. A little off, that's alright. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, nice. Hunky. I'm gonna have to dig some of this stuff out. And then this, yeah, that'll be fun. I might not even have to deal with that, honestly. Never mind. What I might end up doing for this one is I'm just going to get another piece. I'll basically cut this off probably, and then create another plug with a recess on the inside on the other piece, and then have a basically an Ebonite back on this one. But we shall revisit that in a little bit or later. But we don't need the wood there for this. You can kind of see, no, you can't. I can barely see it, so. But yeah, we'll dig this stuff out and then address it from there. Like I said before, you don't need to go ahead and fix these things quite yet, because there's a good chance with the rest of the ones that I'm working on, I'm going to have to most likely patch some of the holes here and there, and fill them with different stuff if we want to bring them to the finish line, which we do. Alright, this one's a little suspicious. I'm not sure if this one's going to work how I want it to, but we'll try it. Welcome back, Lawrence. Hey Jack, how you doing? Well, that's fun. Maybe that'll be a cool blank, huh? Okay, well, for this particular one, because the band is spinning, we're going to have to put it to the side and then reattack it later. But the green's looking pretty cool. See? That's what I'm talking about. Another thing. There we go. Alrighty, let's take a look at the teal, huh? Alright, alright. Okay, looking good. Whew. Nice. Almost. All right. Well, that is kind of unappealing, isn't it? All right. Again, add it to our collection of ones that we need to do a little adjustments on, modifications, and I'll be perfect. There's also a shorty. I was kind of wondering if I was going to end up needing to do something different with it. So these are the ones that we did so far. Got a few to go. This, and this one's fine. This one was fine. This needs adjustment. This needs adjustment. Got our work cut out for us. So, I will say that, you know, Ebonite and stabilized wood is pretty cool. The interesting thing too about stabilized wood is that you can wet sand it because it's not quite wood, but also not quite resin. But it turns, let's see, it does not turn like Alumilite, that's for sure. It turns more like, well, it's just kind of its own category, really. It doesn't turn like acrylic. It doesn't turn like wood. It turns like its own thing. Some of the stabilized wood that I've gotten has been kind of soft, but overall, this stuff has been really nice. Been able to get a pretty good, pretty clean pass on the wood, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, let me know if you like this setup of stream as far as having a landscape view. I know that it's quite a bit different. I used to do vertical only, but you know, I think there's a more to capture when you're able to do it in a whole landscape mode. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I'm gonna wrap it up for now. Get ready for dinner, and I appreciate you hanging out. And if you enjoyed or learned something, hit that thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again next time. Until then, take care.